Yikes. I do not like the way this thing looks. Maybe that'll be better. I don't know. Lighting here sucks. Let's see. Do we have anybody in the house today? Got 2 people here so far. This should be interesting. Where is, let's see, Vin and Sori. I'm trying to get the link, y'all. So if you're here, there it is. Live now on the Fireside. Amy Lee in the house. Playing house. Hold on, guys. I'm just gonna post this up on our I guess there's a new Facebook thing. All right, we'll go with dark because that's what I'm about. We got Vin and Sori here. This is interesting. Yeah, so there's a new Facebook thing, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but anyway, it is actually better. That's interesting, but that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is how to create this post. Hey guys, Fireside. So we had this idea like way back in the day to do Conspiracy Thursdays where we would just talk about our favorite conspiracies. But that's not even a thumbnail. Unbelievable. So anyway, that was the idea. So I figured I got nothing to do. Let's do some Conspiracy Thursday. Let me just jump on Patreon, let the patrons know that we're in the house. So nobody gets mad at Vincent, although people get mad at me all the time. Patreon, that's not working. Which browser had pay? I got like 50 million things up right now. It's such a disaster. Ugh. Let's try this one. Not logged in there. Okay, that's Firefox. I don't even use Firefox. So let's quit that. Hold on, guys. I'm really sorry. I'll be back soon. Trust me. Also, I need to find our bassist. Our bassist is gone. Oh, my goodness gracious. Did I just delete? This is Chrome. So let's try Safari. Okay, let's try Patreon on Safari. I think that one has it. Nope. I think, look, if you're on Patreon, if you could go and put the link in there, that'd be great because I don't have it. And so I'm done working with that because I want to talk to you guys. All right. What do we got here? What do we got? My favorite conspiracy is still Alex Jones saying the liberals are out to turn the frogs gay. Yeah, that was a conspiracy where I was like, nah, he didn't really say that. I couldn't believe that that was actually a real conspiracy. I had to see that for myself, but it was true. He really did say that nonsense. So what can you do? What can you do? Trump flash sale. Your order will ship soon. President Trump chose 50 of his patriots that he wanted to give our official Keep America Great hats. And you're one of them. All you have to do is contribute $30 in the next hour and we'll send you our free iconic Keep America Great hats. Nice try, Trump. Like Trump's getting a little bit desperate. He's asking for money. Flat Earth conspiracy. That's a good one. Megatalica. What a lunacy with Georgia governor. I think any person who contracts COVID in Georgia should sue him for bodily harm. 100% sure. Hola. What's up, Overshadow Sean? Overshadow Sean in the house. The Wayfair conspiracy. Yeah, I've heard about the Wayfair conspiracy. But I don't really know the details of the Wayfair conspiracy. So somebody asked me to report on it. I was like, Do you think the JFK assassination is a conspiracy theory? Chris in the house. Tristram in the house. What's up? I have a hard time with the JFK assassination as far as taking the party line on it, and that's as much as I'll say about it. What's up, dog? Windmill noise causes cancer. Yeah, didn't Trump say that? Didn't Trump say that? Loved your video earlier. Appreciate it, Darnell. A couple of my Christian friends didn't love it too much. So what can you do?
Tell me when you're ready to eat in like 30 minutes because I'll start the rice.
It's done already?
Yeah, I had everything ready for...
It just needed the seasoning?
That's it.
Okay. So it got the pepper in it and all that?
No, I'm going to cook that into it when the rice is cooking.
Raul in the house. Fireside's always a pleasure. They're always a pleasure with you, my guy. Thank you for coming in. CIA was operating out of multiple places. Oswald stayed per their own docks. That's true. Very true. The one about Jay-Z, that he was a time-traveling vampire and Illuminati. I didn't hear that. I definitely heard Illuminati because of this thing, but there's people that believe that I'm like in the Illuminati. Like there's like a hilarious. I'm like the last person who could be a Illuminati. Sorry for speaking out of subject, but any advice for a new Christian converts? Mashallah, Muhammad. Send me an email. That's my advice. vinandsori@gmail.com. Inshallah, I'll be able to give you some guidance. Enjoyed Marxism video, though it was not quite what I expected. Thought there'd be more info about what beliefs people call BLM Marxist for. Well, Leah, the reason they're calling BLM Marxist is because in 2015, Sister said she was a trained Marxist. I literally just got off of a call with a Christian fella, and that one statement was all it took for him to believe that there's some Marxist infiltration plan for America via BLM. This is my first fireside chat. What about the Will Smith conspiracy theory? Oh, is Opeth up yet? Or is that still...
No, I have to go in and edit it again. Every time I go to edit it, I can't because I'm sending something else.
Epstein committing suicide. Yeah, I think Epstein committing suicide is a conspiracy because none of us believes that nonsense. See, that's the thing about conspiracy theories. It's like you can't really laugh all of them off because the official line is that Epstein killed himself, and none of us believes that. If you get the time, can you put that thing up there?
What?
The lamp, the light thing. I don't think anybody believes that Epstein actually killed himself. So that's a conspiracy theory, right? Where we're saying he didn't really kill himself. So you can't say that all conspiracy theories are crazy. I didn't know there was a Marxist training camp. Oh man, I'm doing decent. Kanal, thank you for asking.
I hate editing in the YouTube editor. I really suck at it.
What do you think of fluoridated water meant to dumb down the public fits MK Ultra? MK Ultra is a real thing. That's open source. That's MK Ultra was a real thing. I mean that's what I'd say about fluoridated water is that I think the government has different means of making for docile citizens. I'll just say that. What's up, Seven Dustin? Seven Dustin in the house. Hitler survived World War II. That's a good one. The more and more I read about it, the more and more I really believe that that's what happened, yo. Hitler in Argentina and all that. Why are you live and not recording riffs appropriately? Because this one is supposed to be our vocalist, Sarcast, and look what happened. So there you go. The CIA did some. Why is America so scared of communism, Marxism, and the left in general? I think because the capitalists have successfully managed to brainwash us into believing that capitalism came from God and that all the other isms are bad. I'm Brazilian, but I love this channel. I'm American. We love you. Do you believe in the supernatural? Yes. Do you believe the government is sedating us? Yes. I'll talk. Yesterday, things in my house that my mom used went missing, vanished into thin air. Next day, went to visit the grave and stuff was there. Also, I put a balloon on the grave and it went.
Whoa.
That's Megatalica. Whoa. Wow. Thoughts on extraterrestrial life? I've always said that if there is an extraterrestrial life, I would be very, very surprised. Thanks for your prayers. My sister Ruth has been cleared and feels 100% better. Yes, Raul.
Good.
Yes. Very, very happy. That is awesome. Capitalism is the best way to raise out of your situation. Yes, tell that to the slaves or to the breaker boys in the mines in post-industrial America, and tell that to the all the kids working in sweatshops or all the folks in jail working for legal slavery in America, that that's the best way to raise yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't believe that Marxism is a solution. I don't believe that capitalism is a solution. I think the solution's on the horizon somewhere, but I don't think we're going to get to the actual solution if we do not admit the obvious problems in all of these economic systems. David Najor, can't hear you. We don't have capitalism, it's corporatism. And laissez-faire always leads to that. Correct, Birdman, I agree. Can't stay long because it's 4 a.m. here. Saw you were alive and thought wanted to pop in and say hello. Hello. I can't wait for you to hear our song, Ian. Most absurd conspiracy theory is linking 5G to COVID, and yet there are enough believers to burn down 5G infrastructure. That is a very good one. I think the 5G one is the most hard for me to believe. What's up, Troy? Dave can hear us good.
I don't know why this is so hard for me to do.
There are trillions and trillions of other stars. We know there are planets around their star. I'd be surprised if we're the only life in the universe. Exactly. Unacknowledged. I actually saw Unacknowledged. It's pretty good. September 11th. Yeah, that's a big one. Sori is a big September 11th conspiracy theorist.
No, I am not. Why do you keep saying that? I used to be.
Why do I believe in the supernatural? Because I've experienced it. Fuel fire doesn't melt steel. There's sarcasm being how about the Wayfair conspiracy? I don't know enough about the Wayfair conspiracy. That COVID-19 isn't weaponized. Well, I do believe that both sides of our government want to weaponize COVID-19. I'll tell you this. No, I'm not going to say that. I'll say it if somebody else says it, but I'm not going to say it. What's up, Cooper? I think I did, Tristram. Great Canadian conspiracy. Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. That's a good one. Pizzagate. Pizzagate is one of the things that really inspired me to do Middle America, actually. That was really, really crazy. And to this day, actually, Sori had somebody message her about Pizzagate like today, because one of the kids had a tattoo of a kid eating pizza. Everything you just said about capitalism could be applied to socialism. You make cool videos, though. Thank you, A11 product. As I said, I don't believe that socialism or Marxism in its pure and unallied form is the answer. I just know enough about it to know that capitalism has serious, serious problems. Hey, handsome and beautiful. What's up, Jake? I appreciate it. How you doing? Not looking too chubby yourself. Google the Trudeau Castro thing. The pictures are convincing. Hey, Vin, do you think that 21andMe is collecting DNA to control us or clone us? No comment. M-Def fan in the house. Eating and broadcasting don't mix. What do you mean? I'm eating my these are really good. They're like gummies. They're like Lifesaver gummies.
Plus, I'm pregnant, so I get a pass.
Finally got a date to come home. Excellent, Seven Dustin.
Yay!
Yeah, inshallah, the monsters over there in the Democratic Party do not stop Trump from pulling back these troops. If any of y'all will watch and listen to Jordan Peterson's biblical series, you'll love it. The Christian Understands Some Things Better. Oh, yeah. Jordan Peterson's Bible series is amazing. Really, really, really good.
I'm done fucking with this one at the end anymore. I'm just re-uploading it without it. So we're just going to have a new video up.
I don't understand why you would do that. Didn't you originally do it?
Yeah, it takes me so long to figure it out. And I can't figure it out again. I don't know why I can't figure it out again.
You shouldn't have done all that extra stuff. You should have just deleted the thing and let it go.
What do you mean deleted it?
Because you had it, and then you wanted to put the other people in there anyway, so you put the thing at the end, and then it screwed up, right?
No, that's how I originally put it up. I put it up at the beginning, and I put it up at the end. I put it in the whole video. So I'm just going to re-edit it and send it up again.
No good deed goes unpunished. Get what you get. $9,000 pillow. What metal tunes have you been listening to lately? I don't know if they're metal, but I've been listening to a lot of Chevelle. It's been very good for my soul. I highly recommend yesterday's DRE with Peter Schiffman. Why do you recommend that, MDeath fan? Vin and Sori, will you listen to more Sabaton or Powerwolf in the future? Yes. What about China and Xi Jinping concentration camp, organ harvesting that they've been accused of? Taffer, I fully believe all of that. The Sandy Hook thing was, I have a real problem with Jones for that, for obvious reasons. I think there's some things where you need to draw the freaking line, and he didn't draw the line, and that's just absolutely terrible. What questions would you like me to answer about hell? I know it's a topic you don't like. No, man, I would just like to hear your perspective on it. You know what I mean? I think you got a really unique thing going on there with your podcast. I think it's I listen to, I don't know, I can't tell you how many podcasts and different things across the board that I listen to, but yours is really, really unique. So I just like to hear you just go off. You know what I mean? Harlequin Forest isn't a good song, not a conspiracy theory, just a terrible opinion. Yeah, I got my guitar amp working, and I sent my stuff to the other folks in the band, but I'm also looking for our bassist. We had a guy in here that had a 6-string bass, and I can't find him now. So there you go. Hey, Saint Amont's dad, how you doing? Stop scaring us. If you don't scare us for a month, I promise you I'll send you a shirt, Pop. How's that? Easiest editing tool is Adobe Premiere Pro. I can actually edit anything you want. Just send me the file via transfer.
Editing on iMovie, I don't have a problem with, but once it's already up on YouTube, trying to edit it, it just doesn't go for me. And then I just get more frustrated, and then it just doesn't work even more. Plus, I'm already having a day where I just feel like crying, so.
Did he mention how many billions of dollars slavery injected into our economy, and how many kids were crushed under the boot of the pre-child welfare laws, and how the capitalists were fighting against minimum wage, and how we're outsourcing slavery via the prison system and via the sweatshops? If he mentions all of that, then I'll take it very, very seriously. What's up, BM fan? Do I like watching horror movies? I like watching thrillers. I'm not sure I like watching horror movies. I don't like gore, and I don't like when a person is a bully. Like, I feel like Jason is a bully. He's chasing people that are obviously weaker than him. Michael Myers, same thing, and that really makes me upset to sit there and watch that happen. But I like thrillers. Thrillers are very, very cool, but I probably don't like the horror genre. Me, Kellandros, are you CB? I'm pretty sure you're CB. If you're CB, you should be at 75. I don't know if I'm saying that well enough, but see what I'm saying? On the topic, I was looking at the photography of Louis Wixt Hines. You may find it of interest, and he is extremely dangerous photography of children working in factories. God almighty. Actually, I need that, BM fan, because I'm doing a series on, Kel, I'm going to send you $50 because you should you should be at the $75 tier. Thoughts on simulation theory? I think it's very, very interesting. Yeah, BM fan, send me that stuff because I'm doing a series on Marxism and capitalism. So, have you heard of Children of Bodom? They're a band, right? Greets from Chile. What's up, Duster? Thomas Jefferson ended the transatlantic slave trade. Did he? Single-handedly. In a video, you said if your kid was still living with you at 30, you failed as a parent. I love you, mate, but that upsets me. What am I to infer about my parents from that statement? Well, what I would infer is that you are not in a situation where you have all the society angled for you to be successful. I don't think our society has caught up to how to give autistic folks a fair shot. So that's what I would say about that. But my kids have every advantage in the world and have every privilege in the world. And so if they're still living with me at that age, then I would say for myself, I didn't do a very, very good job. Western capitalism means outsourcing slavery to Africa, China, and India. Yes. Yes. Yeah, get me some your statement about Lincoln and all the other stuff kind of like made me go down that rabbit hole between Lincoln and Marx, and I found some crazy stuff about socialism and how all that worked during Lincoln's time. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. Lenin is live indeed. What do you think it means in the Bible that one day the lawless people on earth will wish for death, but they will not be able to die? I think that that's speaking about the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, and I think that's just a literary device to talk about how horrible the situation will be. I feel like I missed some stuff here, so I'm trying to like go back. Hey, Uncle Dan, electroshock works. It's just a horrible cost. What's up, Vin? Love y'all. What's up, Big Worm? Who will replace Biden? I have no idea. Yeah, the other thing is, Kel, is that we have to hook up and do a video together. So there's also that. I'm Orthodox, but I still enjoy your vids. I appreciate that, RGC. I'm probably more Orthodox than I am Western Rite. So there you go. If I was ever to go very, very high church. New to your channel, I'm very, very much enjoying it. I appreciate that, Mr. Arizona. When you have moments of realizing you exist, like you mentioned in your review of Parabola, do you feel like everything around you is fake? Yes, Isaac. It's so weird. It's so weird. The first time I had that feeling, I was in the shower as a kid, I think. I was somewhere, and I just like, it was such a weird feeling, bro. And like sometimes there was another time when it happened to me, and I think I was like 11 years old. And it was the craziest experience. And I thought that I was a freak show and that nobody else had that experience. But then Come to find out, lots of people have that experience. In 70 AD, who commanded the fire to come down from the heavens? No one did that yet. Well, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the two witnesses in Revelation? Because if you are, or are you talking about the Revelation 13 and 14? Revelation is a very highly symbolic book, so I wouldn't really put a lot of my interpretive weight behind that. Jewish people didn't accept Jesus because he was not a king appointed by God. Why then they rejected Muhammad, especially as he was the descendant of Ibrahim? Good question, Taya. Well, obviously, as a Christian, I would disagree that Jesus was not a king appointed by God. I think there's enough in Isaiah to say that the Messiah would actually be rejected by his own people and that he would have to go to the Gentiles, where it talks about where the beginning, the Messiah is speaking in despair. He's saying, I've spent my strength in vain. Nobody's listening to me. And then God shows up to the Messiah and tells him, don't worry about them because it's too small for you to gather the elect of Israel. I'll make you a light to the Gentiles so that my salvation will reach to the end of the earth. So I think there's enough in the Old Testament to show that the Messiah needed to be rejected by his people, especially Isaiah 52 and 53. So I would say that the rejection of the Jewish people in the main of Jesus was predicted in the Old Testament. Now, why they didn't accept Muhammad was, quite frankly, because Muhammad, there's a couple things. One is he got a lot of the Old Testament stories wrong, like the basics of the Old Testament stories. If you look at the Quran, like when you're talking about David, or you look at the Quran when it talks about the flood, like very salient points in the narrative, he has massive divergences. And so that would be also one of the main reasons. The other thing is that the Jews in Arabia at the time were superior in intellect as well as, military tactics and things of that nature. And so they kind of look down upon, it's just human nature. It's not native to Judaism. They just look down upon the Arabs because the Arabs were kind of like backwater. You had the Persians, you had the Romans, and then you had these little Jews, and the Jews were super intellectual, and the Arabs were kind of like looked upon at the time like rednecks. So there wasn't, the Arab Renaissance hadn't happened yet. And so they were looked upon as sort of rednecks. So to listen to Muhammad would have been basically to lower themselves in their minds intellectually and ethnically. So that was that is the most that I can ascertain from the Islamic literature. If you don't have the base situation figured out by the time I get home and I got you covered, I've been playing for 30 years. Okay, yeah, that'll be very, very interesting. What did you mean when you said about non-believers being dead? That obviously can't be literal, so it means some sort of metaphorical dead. Yeah. Spiritual death in a biblical sense. Okay, so everybody knows the story of the prodigal son, right? The prodigal son is, he goes off, he goes to party. Where the party at? And he ends up, he's in a bad situation. Then he comes to himself. He wakes up in his mind, and then he goes back to his father. And then once the father sees him, he goes and welcomes him, and they have this giant celebration. And then the older brother comes and says, hey, why are you celebrating? This guy was horrible. He spent all your money on prostitutes, and now, he comes back, you're throwing a party. And then the father says to the older son, we had to celebrate because your brother was lost and he is found. He was dead, and now he's alive again. So from that parable, we can see, and there are other places as well, that in God's mind, when a person is not in right relationship with him, that person is separated from him, he's dead spiritually. And when the person comes home and takes their rightful place at the table as a son or daughter of God, then they're alive again. So that's what I mean. It's spiritual death. It's separation from God. There you go. What do you think the end of days will happen? I think the end of days will be probably in about another 10,000 years. It'll probably take us 10,000 years. But they rejected Muhammad before the Quran. Well, it depends on what you mean before the Quran. Remember, the Quran is a recitation, and then the Mus'haf would be the written down form of the recitation. So when you say the Quran, according to Islamic sources, revealed over 23 years of Muhammad's life. So it depends on what you mean. I just saw this in my recommended. What's up, Hylian Candle? Good to see you. What are your thoughts about physics? I think physics is awesome. I think quantum physics is really awesome. And I think all those people are trillions of times smarter than me. And I'm very, very thankful that they're on the planet, because I think they're going to help us figure out a lot of really cool stuff. I love how it's titled conspiracy, but the first thing I hear is God. I just go with the questions. Is tomorrow is the last day. What is the craziest conspiracy theory? Lizards people has to be near the top. Yeah, lizard people I think is a massively amazing conspiracy. Bricktown in the house. What's your opinion on Turkey turning the Hagia Sophia into a masjid, into a mosque? I mean, look, that's small potatoes compared to Islamic history. I'm not mad at Islamic history. The first 300 years of Islam did not spread the first 300 years of Christianity. First 300 years of Christianity, Christians had the swords to their neck. They were getting chopped up, burned all over the place, dumped into the arena. And it got spread through the sword, in the sense that because these people were so willing to die and not defend themselves, it had such a massive impact on the world that, by the time of Constantine, we were able to come out of the catacombs. The first 300 years of Islam started with the sword in the hand of the Muslims, and they went around and did what they did. So turning the Hagia, look, the other thing is, as a Protestant, I don't really put a lot of stock into like holy places. I believe that wherever God's people are collated together are holy places. So, there's a story in John chapter 4 where Jesus and this Samaritan woman are arguing, and the Samaritans, their holy place was Mount Gerizim, and of course the Jews had the Temple Mount, and there was always this argument about which place was holier. And Jesus says, "Believe me, woman, the time is coming when you'll worship the Father, not in this mountain or that other mountain, but the worshipers will worship God in spirit and in truth." So as a Protestant, I'm looking at that and saying, who cares? I don't care about the Hagia Sophia being turned into a mosque, because quite frankly, as a Christian, if you really want to nail me down, God is not present in the mosque in the way that God is present when Christians gather together and worship Jesus. So I really don't care about the Hagia Sophia thing. Whoa, I got to go back to see what Kellendross is saying, because what did Trump say now? See, that's the thing with Trump, is like, you want to report on stuff, but then he says something else, and you can't keep up with it. Though I think there's a distinction, correct me if I'm wrong, between willful separation from God and ignorance of God. Someone who doesn't know God versus someone who rejects him. Yeah, I agree with that. I thoroughly agree with that. You can see that clearly demonstrated in the Bible, for sure. 9/11 inside job, craziest conspiracy theory. Yeah. You believe in the existence of Bigfoot is a conspiracy theory. See, I don't understand why people mock the Bigfoot thing. Like, I feel like the Bigfoot thing could definitely happen. Like, why is that such a funny thing? I don't know. I feel like Bigfoot could definitely happen. I don't think that that's like a crazy idea. And when I say crazy, I mean crazy in Trump saying he's winning against coronavirus. He's winning? Is that what he said? What's your theory on the theory that the fire of the great library in Alexandria was arson, so the history could be hidden and rewritten to create a different world mindset? Yeah, I just think that's I don't really hold to that position. I don't really think that is how history really works. More people have died, more wars have been fought over religion than any other cause. James, if today wasn't conspiracy day, I would go and deconstruct that. That's just historically inaccurate. That's just not true. But that's not the subject of the situation today. Building 7 is still the smoking gun. Except creation itself speaks to his glory. Yeah. What are your thoughts on 9/11? Bigfoot is real. My thoughts on 9/11 are that it could have been prevented. a good argument could have been made that these folks were just wildly underestimated, because historically speaking, prior to that, you had never really seen such an operation carried out by civilians. And I do think that there are elements in our government that benefited very greatly agenda-wise from the fact that 9/11 happened. And I'm not talking small things like money. And that's as much as I'll say about that. What do you think about the Vatican being a satanic operation that runs the world, banks, and controls the world? I think that that's crazy. I think if the Vatican controlled the world, then all of these priest conspiracy, all these priest molestation things would have been kept under wraps, because that has hurt them significantly over the last 25 to 30 years. Alex Jones predicted 9/11 in August of 2001. Well, that wasn't really. What's up, Tejas? That wasn't really a hard prediction. The World Trade Centers had already been attacked in around 96, 97 by Islamic extremists. So I don't see how that's such a massive prophecy. UFOs, real or fake? I'm inclined to say more real than fake. Bohemian Grove. Yeah, man. Bohemian Grove is crazy. And I'll tell you what. He named bin Laden. This is a true story. I promise you, this is a true story to death. As soon as the second plane hit, I was in high school at the time. As soon as the second plane hit, I literally said, effing bin Laden. And the kid next to me, beautiful brother, he said, "You can't say that. That's racist, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about." Bin Laden had already destroyed the USS Cole in 95, 96. So that's not, again, that's not a massively amazing prediction that bin Laden would take part in 9/11, or that Al-Qaeda would be part of 9/11, because they'd already shown aggression to U.S. military outposts, much less civilian outposts. Yeah, Kel. I've got family that died in 9/11. And I've got people I consider family that died as a result of 9/11. But, I understand it's such a traumatic situation for America that, people are going to speculate about it. But I hear you. It's extremely frustrating to hear something that's so traumatic gets kind of bandied around, but what can you do? Is it a conspiracy theory to take the logical theory that with the Trump admin compelling virus information to go to them and not the CDC from hospitals would lead them to saying, poof, no more COVID? I just think that the government, because of the advent of social media, there's a real Pandora's box that is open that you really can't close. And I could see him coming up with a plan like that, but I don't see him being able to execute it very well. And the other thing is that the president is not omnipotent, so the executive branch does not have the power to pull the wool over our eyes to that degree, especially a guy like Trump, who has such an adversarial relationship with not only, keep in mind, Trump is not very secure at all. Remember, there was a Never Trump campaign run by Republicans. They bent the knee to him because prior to COVID and George Floyd, he was invincible and there was no way that he was going to lose, but he's very vulnerable now. So I just don't think he'd be able to pull something like that off, considering the current situation. How did the U.S. forces not notice the out-of-line airplanes that were traveling over New York? Yeah, although those things are not as simple as you would think. And the other thing too is, keep in mind, The only way to intercept those things and stop them is to shoot them down. And so prior to 9/11, you've got it would almost be impossible to imagine us shooting down our own civilian aircraft. So I don't think that's I've heard that conspiracy theory. I get it, but you have to factor in the human element. I don't see George Bush or anybody else authorizing a takedown of American aircraft. I do think Flight 93. I do think that's what happened with Flight 93. I will tell you guys that. I will say the one that crashed in not the one that crashed in the Pentagon. There was the Pentagon, there was New York, and then I forgot where Flight 93 was. But I absolutely believe that Flight 93 was a shoot down. I don't believe the let's roll hero thing. I don't believe that. The QAnon people legit think there are satanic pedophiles eating babies and drinking their blood to obtain their adrenochrome to live longer? What? No. Give me a link. Who believes that? Eating babies and drinking their blood? No. Hey, Jesse in the house. What are your thoughts on the bastard parties forming into the Bloods and Crips due to squashing black leadership? I think it was a very well done, very well played move by those groups. I think the black community, it's the Achilles heel. I'm trying to work with BLM locally here, and it's an absolute disaster. It's a complete disaster and a cluster. These people, all these people that have conspiracy theories about BLM, like if you've ever actually tried to work with these folks and organize with them, forget it. Like, these guys, let me shut my mouth. What's your thoughts about Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell being killed over pedophilia ring involving the Clintons? Yeah, I heard Joe Rogan's friend was on there and he started trying to go in with that stuff and Joe cut him off, which I think was the right thing to do. I'll tell you this, Edwin, if there's anything to it, if Ghislaine Maxwell survives long enough, then it'll come out then, right? Z, we don't really eat the babies. We feed the flesh to our cyber dogs. Yeah. I just think that's crazy to me to believe that people believe that. It's just, I don't know, man. I just have a hard time with it. The local BLM rallies were organized by like high schoolers. This idea, it's all orchestrated, is hilarious. I know. I'm talking to Betsy Sweet over here about qualified immunity. I'm working with her folks, and so I go to the BLM Portland people, and it's just a complete mess. They want, they're putting climate change and all this in their demands. We've got a list like 28 demands. Go to their website. It's a complete disaster. I'm like, yo, we can start leveraging qualified immunity. It's like, hey, we're a constitutional carry state. We can go with the Constitution angle and the Founding Fathers angle. And I'm already coming up with commercials. We're working with Betsy Sweet, and these people are just, we want to march and say Black Lives Matter. It's like, what in the world? It's people that think that BLM is this well-oiled machine that's trying to smuggle in Marxism. Forget it. Hey Vin. BLM was trained to be ninja Marxist. I know. It's insane. It's insane. A lot of people believe a lot of far-fetched stuff like the Bible or like life originated from non-life, and that we've got consciousness from non-conscious entities. That stuff too. Those are the useful BM fan, those are the useful idiots. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Remember when Ronald Reagan said, if planet Earth was ever attacked by an unknown enemy, I'm sure we'd forget our difference and pull together. Well, that's happening now, and that ain't happening. Oh, you mean the thingy? Yeah, no, the coronavirus. We're not coming together. I agree with that. In that anthrax vid, some nut job seriously said fascist is an anti-white slur. Let me shut up. There's so many ways. There's so many ways. What do you think about Trump holding back funding from schools that don't open on time? You know, I don't have a dog in the fight because, you know, you guys know we've always homeschooled. I just think that's so terrible. I think that's so horrible. You're essentially blackmailing people. I cannot imagine a worse sort of fall from grace as I've seen in Trump in the last, 4 to 6 months. I just think it's absolutely crazy. And again, I'm a person who has no dog in this fight because all my kids are homeschooled. But yeah, I just think that that's absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Millions of parents are homeschooling now. Yeah, I know. All the people that were mocking us and saying we were crazy for homeschooling and all that. It's like the vast majority of these kids didn't do any of that distance learning stuff. I just talked to a guy yesterday. He said he's friends with the school board stuff in Maine. And he said like 70% of those kids didn't do one assignment from their distance learning thing. It's a complete mess. Complete mess. Homeschool is a lie. I don't know what lie that is. What lie is homeschooling? We have gone to the moon 6 times. Homeschooling is no walk in the park, though. It's hard work. Oh, I know, but see, we're social. We're used to it, so it's completely fine for us. That's the thing, MDef fan. We don't participate in any of the local schooling, but we keep getting taxed, right? So, like, there should be a kickback for homeschoolers, for sure. If the coronavirus eventually leads to the end of the U.S. Department of Ed. Well, I do think the educational system got pretty exposed in this whole COVID situation. I do believe that because like they just pushed all these kids through and these kids missed the last quarter of the school year and they ended up just fine. A lot of my friends and neighbors are considering going to full-time homeschooling from now on. They're just not sure how to balance their job. Yeah, that's a tough thing. Not everybody has these work-at-home jobs, And so I'm working with a friend of mine on a pretty big project. We're trying to stand something up to maybe employ a couple thousand people. But, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket, right? I mean, good Lord. But, yeah, that's the hard part for me is, like, these parents have like had a taste of what it's like to homeschool and the kids have, and then like they got to go back to normal. I think that sucks. I remember being a kid and being so depressed, having to leave my mom and go to school. If I standing outside in that little bus stop by myself, all cold and all that, man, if I would have been able to have the opportunity to be homeschooled, good Lord. Unbelievable stuff. Imagine they compelled the schools to open and majority of parents keep their kids home in such undeniable, noticeable numbers. Will Trump lash out against the parents? He will. He's completely, I think he's completely unraveled here. And the Biden folks read the whole situation correctly and said, this is our only shot at winning. Is you just keep Biden quiet and you let this man, now that I've seen Trump completely and totally melt down all by himself, without any help from Russia or the Democratic Party, it just makes me more and more angry that Bernie Sanders is not really in the contention because he would have won by a landslide. I think you would have seen the greatest, most lopsided victory over an incumbent in U.S. history if Bernie was given a shot. But we are where we are. Y'all have a legit full class already. Yeah, I know. Dorian is really big on the stock market, though, so we're working on getting him like a tailored, academy virtual course thing going on there. So, China is dangerous. I agree. Do you agree that both political parties are hiding truth to all the American people? 100%. 100%. I agree with that. School was one of the most necessary social experiences in my life. Wouldn't have missed it for the world. That's good. I'm glad, Sarcast. Why was Bernie not given a shot? And the guy who was in last place is now the nominee. That's because Bernie was not a corporate Democrat and Biden is a corporate Democrat. Also notice that the right wing is saying Biden is actually a radical socialist too. Yeah, I know. It's just unbelievable. Biden is a radical socialist. The guy who in the midst of the pandemic, when we all started taking it seriously, said he would veto Medicare for all. That guy. Okay. It's just everybody's a radical socialist now for the right. Anytime they want to discount somebody or whatever, they fill them up with all this fear. Unbelievable. Works of Hosea, Isaiah, and Amos were about kings who led sons of Israel to better life. Maybe Jesus' words were politically unacceptable. Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, unto God the things that are God's. I think that statement from Jesus is probably the most brilliant, one of the most brilliant statements he's ever said. So, they come to Jesus. They said, should we pay taxes to Caesar? And of course, if you pay taxes to Caesar, that meant you were funding the Roman war machine, which was then being used to oppress you and, emperor worship and all that. And so they thought they had him in a giant conundrum. And of course, Jesus says, whose image is on the coin? And of course, they say, well, it's Caesar's image. And then he says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God's what is God's, right? So what most people forget is that there are two images that he's actually talking about. Because on the one hand, he says, well, this coin is stamped with the image of Caesar, so it belongs to him. So just give him back whatever is his. But what he didn't say, but what everybody in the crowd read from what he said was that you and I are stamped with the image of God. So let Caesar have his money because that's his. But you yourself as a person, you belong to God. So give to God your whole soul and give to Caesar the little money that's connected to him. And in that way, you'll actually be able to overthrow the Roman Empire. And sure enough, we call our dogs Nero and our sons Jonathan. So I thought that was just a brilliant, brilliant kind of dodge and parry by Jesus there. One of the best. Biden will just as much fodder for comedians as Trump. Oh, well, Biden will be worse. Biden will be worse. Which Caesar? The one before Nero. I think it wasn't Augustus. It was the guy between Augustus and Nero. I'm drawing a blank. Did you ever see the PBS Frontline Island, The Man Who Knew About John O'Neill? Yes, I did, Tejas. I did see that one. Yes, leave site. Claudius. Sorry, guys. Or Tiberius. Yeah, I think it's Tiberius. Biggest problem with Biden is his obvious dementia. He didn't even know his own mother was still alive. Yeah, bro. What do you think the world would be like if the Roman Empire never fell? I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure. It's a good idea. Biden can't deal. Perkinos knows. It was Tiberius. Biden can't deal with China. No, he can't. I don't think anybody believes that Biden's going to be able to deal with China. Someone seriously tried to tell me that render unto Caesar quote meant that Christians should be nationalists. What? It's literally the opposite. Unbelievable. Listen to me. This is top level stuff. We're ended on the way to work this morning by a coworker who's a driving instructor. I failed my license 3 times and I had to get a driving instructor. So I had a better experience, but good Lord. Would make for a fun movie or book if the Roman Empire never fell. Yeah. I used to read these comics. They were like, it was like, what if this happened? What if that happened? Like, what if Superman was a bad guy? There's this guy with a big brain or whatever. I forgot what the name was. But yeah. Jesus would despise the right-wing conservative capitalists if he was around today. I don't know if he would despise them. He'd love them. But I think he would point out some serious issues and they'd kill him. And I think he'd point out some serious issues in Marxism and they'd kill him. The What If comics were great. The Watcher, yeah, that's the guy's name. You know, there's a whole class of angelic beings called Watchers. Hello from the Bronx. Where in the Bronx, Brian? South Bronx. South Bronx. Vin, how do you feel about the Hagia Sophia being converted to a masjid in Constantinople? I already answered that. I don't really care. As a Protestant, I don't believe that that locations are holy anymore. I believe that groups of people are holy. And so I think, you know, as a Christian, I believe God is way more present in a gathering of 4 Christians than he is in a mosque with 500 people. So I just don't care. I know a lot of other Christians, it upsets them, but I just don't care. The Watchers are forbidden to intervene in the events that they observe. I learned about Watchers from the Darksiders games. Yeah. Hey, Alejandro. Hola, ¿cómo está? Pony in the house. You answered that twice, but ignore me on JFK. I'm purposely ignoring you on JFK. I don't know a lot about Buddhism, Anthony, so I'm not sure. But I think we've got a couple Buddhists in here, so they'll be able to help you out. The Quran states that Muhammad had red hair. Well, the term red in Arabic colloquially did not mean red like we talk about red. So that's something to think about. Every empire is meant to fall. Roman Republic would have been alive today if national idea would not be to conquer. Very good point. Hey, greetings from France. What's up, France? Yeah, the Dark Tower was no, I'm thinking about something completely different. Sorry. I've grown up Protestant, but I feel like both Catholic and Protestant beliefs and modern way of doing things just burns me out completely. It's depressing. Muhammad married 6-year-old Aisha. He did. That's true. He married her at 6, consummated a relationship when she was 9. It's just a fact. I love me some Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but that's what happened. Imagine if the Roman Empire survived, it would be just be in the East, in Greece, and parts of Anatolia. One significant difference is modern Greek identity would never have formed. Perkinos, when as a student of Islam and Islamic history, that would have been a very, because the Muslims did go after the Romans, but they were well depleted by that time and not really a factor, I don't think. So if you would have had like Jesus era Roman power, like Pax Romana, Rome versus the Muslims, I think that would have been a very, very, very interesting conflict for sure. It ties most of Stephen King's books together. Jeez, man. There's so many books I wish I could read. I'll tell you what, if I could snap my fingers, I would like clone myself into 9 different people. Because I'd be able to do so much stuff, and a lot of it would be reading. What book besides the Bible has most shaped your worldview? Das Kapital? No. I read Marcus Garvey at a very young, impressionable age, and so a lot of my understanding of my place in the world and things of that nature came from that book that my mom made me read in the summer of '98, I believe. There's a fiction book called, I think My Teacher's an Alien, or My 5th Grade Teacher's an Alien, or something like that. And it's not a very significant line, but there was this one line where the aliens, somebody had done something wrong, and then the aliens were like, oh my gosh, it's terrible, we got to bring him before the universal court, yada yada. And it turned out the kid was just mean, and it said something like uncaused meanness or something like that. that really had, I read that book when I was in high school, and that had such a massive effect on me because at the time I was in New York and there was a lot of violence, and there was the whole thing like you got to project a certain amount of violence and inflict a certain amount of violence so people leave you alone. And that really, really struck me, and it's always stayed with me. So that's something where that line and that whole little scenario had more impact on me, I think, than even some things in the scripture. Just because of where I was at the time. So that's one. Yep, Epic of Gilgamesh or Iliad. Yeah, I spent a pretty penny on ancient Near Eastern stuff in my software program. It's not cheap, but I love the ancient Near East. I love the ancient world. So there's stuff being discovered. Michael Heiser and all those guys, like there's so many things being discovered about the ancient world that just adds more kind of flavor and structure to the Bible. That I love that stuff. Hey Vin, how you doing? Where's Sori? Sori is, I think she's laying down. I think she went to lay down. Kirk Cousins is a Vikings fan. I support your name. Yo, son, what do you think about Dak not getting his contract, man? That's pretty crazy. Since you and Sawyer crank it out babies, kids, if you consider hanging up a copy of Kimpling's If over your son's bed. I'm not sure. I might have to. Yo, you're in Hunts Point? Man, no comment about Hunts Point, bro. You like that? You like that? Cowboys fan. You didn't make Sawyer mad. Not at all. What are your thoughts on prominent black leaders in New York calling for anti-crime unit to be brought back? I just thought that I thought the entire defund police, we took out all the DTs in New York City, which I know for a fact that there are many times when DTs saved my life and saved other people's life in New York City. I just think it's just completely foolish. And again, this is another one of those things where black folks in the Maine are not very good at organizing. It's kind of like what do you call it? Austin Powers. Remember when he was like, I will release him for like $1 million. And they're like, yo, that's too low. That's too low. And then he's like, $100 million, which is like a ridiculous number. Like that's how I feel that black activists are right now for the last 30 years. Ever since we lost Malcolm and Martin, it's just been this ridiculous, horrible. If you could travel back in time, where would you go? Time of Jesus. That would be my first one. The time of Adam, like the antediluvian period, I would like to be there. And then the time of Muhammad. That would be my top three. Yeah, defunding police. Thought on Nick Cannon's recent statements. Look, this is what I'm saying about the disorganized structure. This comes from a combination of Nation of Islam, Black Israelite theology. I try to do a debate with Black Israelites, but they're so emotional. They've combined their pain with their theology to come up with this crazy idea, and I just think that it doesn't stack up to actual debate and things like that. It's not historical. It's not biblical. But it's a bunch of black people who've had the boot on their neck for hundreds of years, and now it's swung the other way to now we're not equal with white people. We're superior to white people because we have melanin and they're savages. And this is again one of those things where I told Kellendross when we had our discussion, original sin is very helpful because it protects you from this silly notion that there's something particularly wrong with white people, as if we were not the majority of this nation, that we wouldn't be doing horrific things to oppress people as well. We would. So, it was black people that sold the first slaves to Europeans. So I got no time for that stuff. I think it's injurious to the movement. think it's terrible, and I think that the fact that he's still on that dancing show, whatever, the hidden famous person show, I think is crazy. Just crazy to me. It's just absolutely crazy. Do you believe Q is a conspiracy or people in the Trump administration? If you're talking about the deep state stuff, I think Trump's got a pretty strong case that there's a deep state situation. Gotta go. Be streaming some samurai goodness on Twitch. I'll text you about the song. I may just get you 25 instead of having me send me any money back. No. Why would you do that? Just take the $50. And the other thing is we have to do a recording together. See what I'm saying? So let's make it cool. Yeah, okay. I guess you guys are right about the cancel culture thing here. I mean, he did apologize and all the rest of it. So I'll walk that back. He should, keep him on the show. Maybe have a dialogue or whatever with Jewish people or whatever, but and white people. Because the other thing that's hilarious to me is everybody's like, he said anti-Semitic statements. He also said horrible things about white people. Nobody cares. It's unbelievable to me. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know, guys. But terrible situation. There's no way. There's no way. Hare Krishna, thoughts? I've got a good friend that's a Hare Krishna. I'm fascinated by it. Obviously, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Krishna is the supreme manifestation of Godhead. But give me your thoughts on Israeli militarism. I think Israeli militarism is horrible. I don't think we should be unilaterally supporting Israel. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but the settlements and just the overall apartheid treatment of Palestinians, I think, is unconscionable. Did you read my missive on defunding the police? No, but beyond that, I need to get you guys on TV to talk about it, because I just think that the term defund the police is just bad strategy. As a wild Jew, I am insulted. Krishna plays all days with the gopis. What kind of God does that? Yeah, I know. I know. My friend is he's starting to take on an Indian accent. He's never been to India. But I guess that happens when you listen to a bunch of my favorite teacher in Hare Krishna is Amarendra Das. He's my favorite. I love him. Be careful, Vin, bordering anti-Semitism by bringing up Israel. Yeah, I know. The term defund the police is misleading. I gotta find out. Zonia, tag me in that missive. I feel like the anarchists took a very, very big loss due to the Chaz thing. All SJWs are racist. Whoa! Krishna core hardcore bands? That's crazy. Who do you think has been blowing stuff up in Iran lately? I actually think, Tejas, it's more likely to be elements from our intelligence agencies kind of trying to create another Arab Spring, even though the Iranians are Persians. They're not Arabs, but you get the idea. You fools! I already solved the policing issue in the country. Vin, no disrespect. As a Christian, you have to support Israel, don't you? Jeff, that's not a disrespectful question at all. That's a very good question. And no, I do not have to support Israel as a Christian. As a matter of fact, it is my Christianity that makes it so that I do not support them doing what they do to the Palestinians. But Jeff, I'm going to be looking for your reply because I want to see what you have to say beyond that. Wasn't George Harrison a Hare Krishna? Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, defund the police like when the Republicans defund education. That's a good point. Oh, that's why I couldn't get into Patreon. It was down. Yes. Jews are persecuted throughout history, and as soon as they came into power in Israel, they oppressed the Palestinians. And I was born in Israel and came from a Jewish family. Well, Tasco, I mean, that's again the original sin thing, right? Which is why I know what we as Black people would do if we were the majority population in the greatest superpower in the world. We would do the same thing. And that's why I've been able to be insulated from the, the craziness. So there you are. Thoughts on Congress backing Trump from pulling out of the stand? That was my major issue, when I was dealing with the boat stuff. I'm this anti-Trumpism is now coming at the expense of the well-being of our soldiers, and it's just infuriating me. Very, very infuriating. Why is there no outcry for the Black children killed by BLM protesters? It's extremely sad. Which one, Zombieholic, was killed by a BLM protester? Just discovered your channel a week ago. Love the reaction videos. I think you should watch a couple interviews of Tobias Forge from the frontman behind Ghost. Yeah. I'd love to see that for sure. George wasn't really a member of Hare Krishna. Sriva Prabhupada gave him special mercy, I'd say. Yeah. I'd give you that one. Get the money for this shit by cutting foreign aid, trimming Pentagon funding, and closing overseas bases. I think that's good. I'd vote for you for president for sure. Bam, you're welcome, America. Hell no, they killed Jesus. Who killed Jesus? White lady said all lives matter. BLM dude shot her in the head. What do you mean by a BLM dude? BLM is an actual organization. So if you have empirical data that states that BLM is doing the killing, like people attached to BLM are doing the killing, I'd like to know. Thoughts on Druidism? I don't have much thoughts on Druidism because I don't know much about Druidism. Vin, do you feel bad for Black men named Tom who happen to be uncles? Must be rough. That was a very good one. So is Cam going to be the new Patriot savior? I don't know. I think he's going to be able to operate in the pocket and buy himself 2 or 3 seconds that Brady obviously, did. So there we go. Oh yeah, George Floyd killed by COVID. Yeah, and these are also the same people who say there is no COVID. It's just 5G. Like, you know what I mean? Like crazy stuff. One of these days, maybe an AI quantum computer might run America instead of humans. It wouldn't surprise me. Feels like we're losing our place as the leader of the free world. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm American, I'm a patriot, but I just don't know what's happening right now. We've got Biden, who is supposed to be like on track to be the president. He's not saying anything, and he can't because they want him to win. And then you've got, it's just a, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're the leaders in the free world of anything other than, oppression. Did you talk about the BLM protests outside of a church in New York? No. What'd they do, Darnell? We say that every time there's a Republican in office, it's all sky is falling BS. That's true. That's true. Hey, just picked up my. Hey, Scott, are you our bassist? I'm trying to find our bassist. I can't find him. If Jehovah's Witnesses believe only so many can go to heaven, why do they keep on trying to recruit? Well, because the heavenly class in Jehovah's Witness structure is the 144,000, and then the rest of the good people live on paradise earth for all eternity. So they don't have a heaven-hell dichotomy. It's a heaven versus earth dichotomy. It's funny to me when people say artificial intelligence will be the end of us. I say natural stupidity is way more dangerous. I want us to lose our spot as leader of the free world. Let someone else do the heavy lifting for a change. Fair. That's fair. Stephen Civic. Thank you, Vin. What are you thanking me for? Why are you thanking me? Yeah, paradise earth. How can you be a born-again Christian if you were never a Christian? Well, born again has to do with the state of your inner being. So the state of your inner being is corrupted with the sinful nature. Oh, Jazakallahu khair. Yeah. It's corrupted with the sinful nature, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to die to that part of yourself spiritually and then reborn as a person that is connected to God. So that's what it means to be born again. If people won't act like civilized adults by their own free will, then society will force them to by fascist means. I don't know. My opinion on you, Vid, would change depending on what you think about Jared Goff. Not really, but come on. Here's my thought on Jared Goff. So I was watching the Super Bowl replay on NFL Films, and in halftime, McVay was saying, we got to get out there, we got to execute, and it starts with me. And that's all I needed to know about Jared Goff. But I will say he had some key players in that Super Bowl who were injured, which would have really pushed Tom to the, what's weird as a Patriots fan, like I don't even count that Super Bowl victory. Like I don't even count it. I don't know. For some reason, it's just not a like thing that I really celebrated much, I can't put my finger on why, but it was just not a very, Mark, thank you, Mark. I had a question about purgatory. If we suffer a lot in life, do we suffer less in purgatory? Also, I never believed in purgatory until recently. Well, I don't believe in purgatory at all because Jesus took all of our suffering. He bore our hell and our purgatory on the cross. So the idea of suffering to attain redemption for yourself, I think is obviously problematic as a Protestant, for sure. I just watched Pro because the 67-0 scores are just terrible for me. Should be a Gabbard Yen ticket. That'd be hard to beat. I think a Bernie Tulsi ticket or a Bernie Yang ticket would have been impossible to beat. But yeah, there you go. Oh. Honestly, I'm so confused lately. It's getting intense. Yeah, I mean, he's a traditionalist. It's one of those things where you really have to have your own walk with God. I hear you. Sent you another email about another video I think you'd find interesting. Thank you. I want to say, what's up, man? As an atheist, I just wanted to say that you're helping restore my faith. No doubt, random hero. I see what you did there. Very good. Send me an email, random. Maybe we can keep chatting back and forth. Sheol was an interesting concept of limbo. Will you ever take DMT? It is not off the table. It's not. One more attempt for bad thoughts on solipsism. You can only be sure of your own mind. I think if you combine that with simulation theory, I don't want to completely refute it as a Christian or deny it, but I'm not particularly certain that that's wrong. And I would probably say that that's the best description of God prior to the creation of anything. I have to keep thinking about that. Do you believe there will always be unbelievers on planet Earth? No, I do not believe that. Hey, McClellan in the house. What's good, James Leck? Ayahuasca, not DMT. Thoughts on the Black National Anthem? I didn't know Black was the nation. I've never heard of the Black National Anthem. So, as far as DMT, have you ever tripped before? No. Black Lives Matter is not a partisan issue, according to the Office of Special Counsel. What's up, Incense 48? Should the Cleveland Indians change their name? I'm not a native, so I'm not particularly certain. What I do know is that the term Redskins was a slur. I know that, but I don't really know much about the whole shebang to really make an informed sort of judgment. What are your thoughts on Superman as a Jesus figure? Yeah, I mean, look, he's from another planet. He has a secret identity. On and on and on and on. He's Superman is obviously a Christ figure for sure. And he's also very morally, very, very high bar of morality. I work with a conservative dudes who are Black. People have actually called him Uncle Tom. Why does that seem to be so prevalent? This is I think a person like Candace Owens could rightfully be called an Uncle Tom. But I do not believe that every, I was conservative, on a lot of things until I ran into the channel, right? So, and I was a deep, deep lover of my people. I mean, I diverged from the conservative sort of ideology on that, but for the most part, I was fiscally conservative as well. And it wasn't until, running into your BM fans, running into those types of folks, and then, looking at the state of affairs that we were and all that. And then obviously Bernie Sanders as well. So there you go. So I don't think every Black conservative is an Uncle Tom. I just think that's ridiculous. None. Superman is explicitly a story of Jesus. He's an immigrant too. That's true. That is very, very true. Did Jesus invent the dining table and chairs like Mel Gibson said? That was such a beautiful moment, man. Oh my gosh. The interplay between Jesus and Mary. That's one of the things that bugs me about Protestantism is Protestants are so afraid of Mary. I really, really love that part. I really, really love that part. Are you a fan of Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson? I'm not a fan of Shapiro. I love Peterson. I love him. Don't agree with everything he says, but I love him. Talk about how the Old Testament explains why you shouldn't engage with an animal. I'm not going to talk about that. Sorry, I'm like, what's up? Should the New Orleans Saints change their names because they are not saints? No. Conservatism has its place. It's a counter to progress moving without discipline and forethought. NMJ, what are you giving up on? There's 167 people in the world. I'm trying. Kyle Kalinske, good dude. Like him. So there you go. Shapiro's as bad and corrupt as Hannity. Peterson is a hyperbolic dumbass and had know more than anyone about being a hyperbolic dumbass. Please speak to NMJ. I don't know what NMJ said. Let me check. Vin, do you see me? Yes, I do. I said hi to you 3 times. All right, hi. You unsub from Kalinsky? Why did you unsub from Kalinsky? That shocks me. Why would you unsub from him, BM fan? Redskins is a slur, but was used when a bounty hunter scalped a native. Yeah, I mean that's just crazy. I said something about born again. Can you repost what you said about born again? I'm looking. I can't find it. Just repost. Ben, do you still have time to read? If so, and you don't have a mile-long list of books, like I'm prone to creating, check out a book called Empire of the Summer Moon. Okay, I'll check it out. Oh, baptismal regeneration. Okay, NMJ, what text says that? I'm confused on religion. I'm only 16, but I'm confused. I do believe there's more, but it's hard for me to believe in one true God because there's so many people saying different things about the same man. Yeah, James, that's a legitimate problem and issue and concern for sure. You know what's funny? I used to watch Tim Pool religiously, and then I started watching Rising. And so I haven't been able to listen to Pool in quite some time. My great-grandmother scalped a general and kept the scalp. We still have it. Wow. Yikes. Zonia, you seem to be an overlord of the village. Have you thought about putting together a reading list for everybody? We come in the world through water, right? And when we come into the world with original sin, to life that's stained, we get baptized and are born again. Well, the logic is sound, but I don't see the biblical precedence for that. As a matter of fact, it seems to me that John chapter 3 mitigates against that. I've never been baptized. You should. Times like this, how do you keep your faith? In times like this, actually, my faith increases because, Jesus makes an analogy between building on rock versus building on sand. And so if you build on rock, when the storms come, you're okay because you have a good foundation. But then if you look across the street and see people's houses collapsing and all the rest of it, you know that what they built their life on was not a sturdy base. And so when I think about the monetary issues, the life issues, the unrest, all that stuff, and the fact that I still believe this stuff actually gives me more faith because I'm like, yo, I've built my life on Jesus and not money and other things, and it hasn't failed me yet. So there you go. Why would I be baptized? Well, if you're a Christian and you believe then you should be baptized to publicly declare to everybody that you're loyal to Jesus. Yes, it is tough to walk the narrow path. That's for sure. When I talk to people, I just give people bad vibes all the time. I annoy people being needed to always talk to someone, but that's because I'm alone like it is the end of the world. Yeah, Megatalica, I hear you, bro. I hear you. What denomination would you classify yourself as? I don't know. Do you have to be baptized to get into heaven? No. Because in the ancient Near East, Jay, you did have folks taking part in that stuff. So that's why. Vin, why do you think that Hollywood replaces white characters with POCs and remakes instead of just making good stories where the characters happen to be POCs? I don't know that happens, but I agree with you on the second half. I'm not a fan of barging into places where you're not welcome. So my thing is make your own studio, have your own coffee shop, yada, yada, yada. How's up, dog, today? I'm good. I know I'm a good person. No way, God, don't let me in. Well, if that's what you think, then he's definitely not going to get you in. Not the God of the Bible, anyway. What do you think about Trump's executive order against China? China vowed retaliation. I think China has already retaliated against us, and that's what I'll just say that about that. No one can enter the kingdom of God unless they're born of water and the spirit. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but the spirit gives birth to spirit. Well, I agree with you, but are you saying that because water is mentioned there, that that proves baptismal regeneration? Remember, Jesus rebuked Nicodemus. He rebuked Nicodemus for being so simplistic. He said, "You're Israel's teacher and you don't know these things." He assumed that Nicodemus would know what he was talking about. And Christian baptism was not articulated in the Old Testament. What was articulated, though, in the Old Testament was Ezekiel 21, I think, 7 through 9, where God says, I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you will be clean. I will take from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh and cause you to walk in all my decrees, laws, and statutes. So the promise of the new covenant is that you would be sprinkled with clean water from all your sins, and that the Spirit of God would come and live in you and start actively working to help you to follow God's commands. So water and spirit there has to do with cleansing and regeneration is my understanding. Another understanding, though, is Jesus is saying the born of water is the first birth, and the born of the spirit is your second birth, which dovetails very nicely with that which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is the spirit. So water would be the breaking of the water, which welcomes the child into the world, and spirit would be the Holy Spirit. So in both of those interpretations, there's no baptism there. I take a shower every day. Does that count as baptism? No. Half an hour, guys. Half an hour. Why should I have to believe in God to get into heaven? That seems narcissistic. Good people should get in regardless of your faith or no faith. Anthony, I agree. Good people should get into heaven, but there are no good people by heaven's standards. That's why we need a savior. Baptism is needed to cleanse original sin. Well, where is that in the Bible? And NMJ, where is it? Is it possible to reverse a baptism? I don't think so. Do you feel like your reading of Marx is helping you see through the fear monger? Well, I never really bought into the whole Marxist blah, blah, blah. And I've always been critical of capitalism because I don't believe that it's a flawless system. Reading Marx, however, has helped me to understand you a lot more. And the other thing is, I was just blown away by how intricate his mind is. I mean, the guy's mind is, it's unbelievable. And so it makes me go, these people talking about Marxism, even my beloved Jordan Peterson. I don't know. Since you primarily run a music reaction channel, do you ever hesitate to listen to new recommended music because you have to? Oh yeah, we don't do it as a matter of policy. So like, I haven't even listened to the entire Korn record yet. So if you want to reverse a baptism, all you have to do is wring the water off the water of the child. How do you feel about all the denominations of the Christian faith? I'm not a fan of the denominations. You know, Paul says in Ephesians 3 that God gave us pastors, apostles, prophets, and teachers to equip us to do the work of the ministry until we reach the stature of a full-grown man, so that we're no longer bandied about by every wind of doctrine. Pretty sure that's what he says. So for me, I believe that a future is coming where we will figure out how to do this one collective organism thing, and the denominationalism will fall to the wayside as we become more evolved and knowledge of the scripture and what God designs for the world. So that's my 5-second take on denominations. I'm not a fan of them at all. Leo Duke, I feel like I remember you. I'm not sure if you remember me, but we met at a Slipknot show last year. My band released our EP. We'd love to hear your opinion. Hope you're doing well. Send me an email. I'm pretty sure I remember you. You're at, so vinandsori@gmail.com. If American Christianity is anything like American racism, it's probably not good. It's better believe in Christ and be a hypocrite who doesn't actually do any Christian things, or to be an atheist and be Christ-like in your behavior and actions. Well, if I don't believe that it's possible for a genuine Christian to never do Christian things. So you'd have to kind of add some nuance to the question. Paul Coletti, what's up, Paul? Appreciate you very, very much, my guy. How come there isn't a bigger voice in the black community talking about Marx like you have in the white liberal community? I don't. Again, I just losing Martin and losing Malcolm. I don't think we've ever recovered. You know, it's like the Miami Dolphins. Once you lost Dan Marino, I mean, that's pretty much been it for quite some time. And I think we're, you know, the folks who took out King and Malcolm X knew what they were doing, and now we're left with Al Sharpton. You know, what are you going to do? Because you simply don't know enough yet. Keep thinking. Oh, gosh. I'm deaf fan. Marxist socialism as an economic theory, communism, this collectivist thinking winds up turning citizens into slaves and kills millions. I'm deaf fan. What economic system was responsible for the American transatlantic slave trade? What economic system was responsible for putting 6-year-old boys in mines? What economic system made it so that the 14th Amendment made it so that we could, the 13th Amendment, I think, made it so that we could basically have a slave labor force of police? What economic system thrives and survives on sweatshop workers and prisoners in order to generate the baseline capital? You're trying to tell me that Marxism only results in slavery? And MDeath fan, all due respect, brother, how much Marx have you actually read? Favorite pizza. There's a pizza that I have with Italian sausage and feta. I think that's my favorite. So much shit going on in the world. I can't pay attention to that because I'm dealing with my own issues. Last doctor appointment told me I have some heart failure. What next? Yikes, zombie. We're going to keep praying for you, bro. The Revolutionists. In your Bob Dylan reaction, you didn't think old poetry or folk songs were political in nature. Do you feel so? No, because I looked at the, what do you call it? The comment section on that one, and a lot of people were saying that, so it changed my mind on that. Vin, that is a whataboutism. We don't count capitalist deaths. Right. I forgot. Let's not count capitalist death. I was born in Jamaica, but I'm absolutely an American through and through. That's why I won't buy their products. Any progressive who does is a hypocrite. Fair. Thoughts on Dante's Inferno? I think it's a good piece of literature. It's a classic piece of literature, and I think it's so influential that it has colored a lot of people's view of the afterlife in a negative way, I would say. Cheese pizza with added feta, smoked oysters, and fresh tomatoes. Ben, I'm very sorry, my brother. I'm sorry I didn't get your thingamajig. I'm very, very sorry. Stab Cats, all caps. Stab Cats is another one. There's a great quote from a Black Panther that goes something like, "We will not defeat white capitalism with black capitalism. We'll defeat it with socialism." Well, we could have defeated it via capitalism, but then, we had Black Wall Street, and you know how that turned out. There are a lot of posers that go around saying there are Christians and quoting scriptures, forget the greatest commandment Jesus gave is to love. That's true. Love God, and the second is like it, love the neighbor as yourself. Okay, so then that for child labor laws and minimum wage, that it was socialists who were at the forefront of that battle. The capitalists wanted that system to remain in place. Now, is that just or unjust, and Death Fan, to have a 6-year-old in some mine somewhere? Your beard is delicious. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're all posers in the eyes of God. Very true statement. Okay, so are you for or against children working in mines for 6.25 cents a day? I'm Death Fan. Do I like Creed? I haven't watched it yet. Do you think the media is intentionally dehumanizing minorities? I'll have to think about that. It's a very interesting question. Two races, humans and reptilians. That's a good reptilian. That's a very good one. Very, very, very good one. Back in the 80s, I was told that for America to fall, the church would be destroyed. I just lost that. Where did it go? I lost it. If there's a video of the white guy getting killed like Floyd did by the cops, do you think things would have went the same way? No, because the situation is not about George Floyd. It is about the fact that many black people can list from memory names of unarmed black people who have been killed by police on and off camera. And many times the police are getting off without an indictment. So, the killers of Ahmaud Arbery, they stood over his dying body and said, "You fucking nigger." And the DA saw that and still refused to indict them. So there's no equivalency between those two. Ever read Ishmael by Daniel Quinn? That sounds very, very interesting. I had because she blocked and excommunicated me, an aunt who believes in the reptilians. That is so crazy. The reptilians? Well, no, I'm Death Fan. It's not just savings. And I'm not sure if you responded to the slavery stuff yet in Death Fan. In Africa, we don't practice homosexuality. I disagree with you. They're just scared for their lives. That's what I'd say. Have you already seen the latest episode of the Joe Rogan podcast with Peter Schiff? I couldn't believe that the devil actually physically exists. I'm going to have to check it out because everybody's telling me to check it out. Do you think you're going to carry the channel into old age? No. No, we've got a definite endpoint, and it's not in old age. Later, Tasco. What do I feel about the Black Lives Matter? I believe that all lives matter. Well, Jesus said, blessed are the poor. And I think it would be a misunderstanding of what Jesus is trying to communicate if somebody yelled, everybody's blessed, right? When Jesus says, blessed are the poor, he's singling them out because they're a group of people who have been marginalized and dismissed and discounted and degraded by society. So he's not saying that rich people aren't blessed or middle-class people aren't blessed. What he's saying is he's isolating blessed are the poor because he wants to elevate them because their surrounding society doesn't place any value on them. So that's what I mean about Black Lives Matter. What would Jesus do if he was here today? I'll have to think about that. BLM is a terrorist organization. Okay. What do you mean by made up later, Anthony Smith? Not MJ. NMJ, good to see you. Yeah. I just BLM don't have the capacity to organize to be a terrorist organization. I'm telling you, these people are eminently frustrated. As a matter of fact, the group that I'm in over here, like we're having a discussion this Thursday as to whether or not we're even going to work with them because they're so disorganized. If you were Biden, who would you pick for VP? AOC. Tulsi, yeah. Tulsi, yeah. Well, see, I would rather Tulsi as Secretary of State, not tell her, get us the hell out of all these proxy wars we're in. Immediately. New Zealand atheists here. Enjoy your reactions. No doubt, LSC. $15 minutes, guys. Am I wrong because I have no issues with sharecropping because without it, we would never have the blues, and without the blues, modern rock wouldn't exist. BLM, the sentiment I believe in BLM, the organization directly funds the Democrats. I hear you. Running this back, if people like socialism, they should join the military. Talk to me 4 years later. What's up, Robert? Salam alaikum. Hey, man, just wondering the reaction to the song, The Sound of Silence. Oh, nice, Mr. Lobo. Hope you enjoyed it. JFK was the last true president. Is the government corrupt? Is the Pope Catholic? Good Lord. I appreciate that, Lobo. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've heard some Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I was a hip hop head before I was a metalhead. For sure. Somebody offered you a creamful donut and you discovered after biting it was filled with mayonnaise. How would you react? Probably violently. Is the Catholic Church the great whore? No, I believe Jerusalem is. Vin, have you ever read in classical Stoicism? Yeah, Aurelius, and there's some overlap in Pauline thought and Stoicism that leads people to believe that he, in Tarsus and in his travels, was schooled in that stuff. But I think you can find a lot of Paul's theology in the Old Testament. But it definitely, in my opinion, was probably informed by that. Because remember, Paul is the apostle to the Gentiles. So that would fit very nicely. 10 minutes, guys. Metallica is my favorite band. True. Kind of new and just curious. Are you religious? If so, what religion? I don't know if I'm religious, but I'm a Christian. So yeah, I'm a Christian. What do you think about other life on other planets? How would that affect your religion? It wouldn't affect my religion at all, other than I would be glad. I almost know there's life on other planets, but you know, they're probably staying away from us. Glenn, your thoughts on the Black Power armed marches, support or condemn? I neither support nor condemn them. As a Christian pacifist, I don't believe that it's proper for God's people to advocate for killing or to take up the sword. And so because of that, I'm not going to support it. But at the same time, being in a country that's flooded with more guns than human beings, with all this racial tension that the media is foisting upon us, it's just a matter of time. So I'm not surprised by it, but I'm not a fan of it, of course. You and Sori compliment each other well. She gets the real life lyrics and you do the philosophical political lyrics. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. That's kind of us in real life. You know, we just pretty much it. And Sori ever called you a filthy socialist? No, she hasn't. Thoughts on NAFAC? I actually like the leader. He's my kind of people when it comes to communication, guessing a former jarhead. 100% MDef. I agree. Favorite scary movie? Only dead have seen the end of war. That's the intro to Black Hawk Down. One of the most influential movies of my day. What happened to the Guns N' Roses reaction was that we got hit with a copyright strike, and if you get 3 of those, they can completely destroy your channel. So we took down all of our later innocence. We took down all of our stuff related to that. Jacob begot Isaiah. Isaiah begot Jeremiah. Jeremiah begot Jonah. Favorite part of the Bible. Very excited. Have you ever looked into other religions, or have you just stuck to Christianity from the beginning? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a student of Islam. I study Islam pretty much every day. Some Hare Krishna, and a lot of Judaism. Song request: The Glass Prison by Dream Theater. Incredible song about the battle with alcoholism. Yikes. Vin, I have a bottle of Hoots whiskey. It's actually delicious. A lot of vet-owned bourbon sucks shit, but this is awesome. Speaking of Black Hawk Down, of course. Hoot, like Norm Hooten? The man, the myth, the legend? Send me a picture of that. I'd like to check it out. Have you listened to Drud, Ukrainian black metal? You know, Taya, actually, I think they actually emailed us a couple of weeks ago. If you knew about Islam, you would know about David Wood. Oh, yeah, I know who David Wood is. I've talked to him on numerous occasions. I mean, look, for a guy with his illness and his condition, I give him a pass, but obviously not my style. Let me see. Favorite actor. Srivapadapad Jai. What do you got? You got Jagannath is my favorite in the Hindu stuff. AOC is my president. She might be. Are you still reading the Paul book? Interested in the idea that Paul was president when the cast the first stone incident occurred? Yeah, I'm not finished reading that book, but I'm coming pretty close. 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes. I don't know. About the Wayfair conspiracy. Not sure. No good deed goes unpunished. A boy sees another boy drowning, helps him out. The drowning boy's mom hugs the boy hero and says to her son, Adolf, thank you. Thank the boy for saving you. Yikes. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, about 10,000 years, M-Death fan. That's what I believe. Dr. Strangelove. Sounds familiar, but I don't think I have. Rockathon 2020, give me a one-way ticket out of America. I might be willing to join that one. Why do you believe Jerusalem is a great whore? Well, in Matthew 23, Jesus says, upon you all the righteous blood from Abel to the righteous to the blood of Zacharias, son of Berechiah, whom you slew between the altar and the temple. All this will come on this generation. So, but then when you go to Revelation, I think it's Revelation 8. Let me see. Revelation 8:11. It says, give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to make sure I'm quoting it properly. Okay, so you got Revelation 8 first, right? And Revelation 8 says the following about that. So Revelation 8 says, their bodies will lie in the public square of the great city, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. Okay, so we all know who crucified Jesus. He gives a location. And then when you look, if you look at Revelation 17, it says, where'd it go? She is drunk with the blood of Revelation 17:6. So if you go to Revelation 17:6, it says, I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. So Jesus said, I am sending you wise men and prophets, etc., etc., and you're going to kill them and persecute them and yada, yada, yada. So, but then when you go to Revelation, it says that the whore, Babylon, the great prostitute, it says that she is drunk with the blood of the saints. So there you go. So that's why I believe that. Vin, check your Facebook. Need that Patreon export, damn it. Okay, I'll check it. 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. Who checks which parts of you and Sori's media accounts? That way I know who I'm always talking to. You're talking to Sori almost exclusively if you talk to her through Patreon. Yeah, the little boy sacrificed himself to save little sister from the dog attack. 100%. Awesome story. Can you defend Louis Farrakhan, or do you not subscribe to his ideology? Well, I mean, I don't think people understand the degree to which Brother Minister Farrakhan, he believes some really wacky stuff. And so the thing about Farrakhan is that Malcolm's gone, Martin's gone, and he's kind of only been a consistent voice through that era. And so, and the other thing is our other Black civil rights leaders have completely and totally sold out because of white capital. So it's one of those situations where you have to, it's basically what we're left over with, basically, is the idea. I've also been to actual Babylon. It was awesome in the original meaning of the word. It inspired awe. It's like we use it today where toast is awesome. Yeah, much all. Okay, I have got to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with your boy. Very good. Take care of yourselves, y'all. And with that, I bid you adieu, or adieu, whatever they say. Adieu. Thank you, Vin. Thank you. Thank you guys for hanging out with your boy. And now I must go.